All right, so Living Desert directional panels, City of Palm Desert. We'll go over these guys here. It's basically all 1/8 inch parts, so it'll be all just one file with 1/8 inch. You've got all your different panels, and you have your little pucks. I call them pucks there for the arrows. And fabrication, make sure you get this bent up and get this to the first shop. This is going to be a vinyl guide for the arrows. We'll go over that. So from the outset, it was sort of set up as like, let's just route some panels and some circles, and then we just have a party. But upon further review, the important thing is the graphics actually dictate which graphic goes on which panel is very important. So these panels here, these shorter ones, are technically the same size, but where the arrow lands on the actual panel, the El Paseo ones are actually higher by an inch or so than the Living Desert ones. So it became evident, and same thing here, where this big panel, 8A and 8I, are the same size, but the graphic dictates that the circles are actually in a different position. So 8A and 8I are not interchangeable. So even though the panels are all the same size, the graphic is important. So it became important at that point to then just break them out into each individual panel. So that's what I did. So this is important for fab and but mostly for install and for vinyl first shot. So starting with fabrication, you will have inside reference kisses for 2x4 or for 2x2 by 1/4 inch angle. And so you'll see those on the back. What you're going to do is just go ahead and chop up all this 1/4 or 2x2 by 1/4 angle. We'll order that in. So it's 25-foot sticks. So you should be able to get a breakdown like that. And then you're going to hand drill the holes on one side. And I got the layout here. They're pretty much on center from the center out. What we're doing is just mimicking this. I got a picture here. Where's our picture? There it is. So we're mimicking what's already existing. So you've got the 2x2 on each side. You're going to go ahead and keep the welds to a minimum, just like this. Pretty much just weld where your holes are. Again, the less is more. Heat is the enemy. You don't want these things getting too crazy, too buckly. What's really important is obviously if you just weld on this axis, then these can kind of fold out. It could break off. So what you want to do is make sure you get a weld along the top and the bottom as well on all these. So make sure it's clamped down well and go ahead and weld up on both top and bottom. That will keep it down. Now, you can choose whether or not to weld on the inside. I don't think it's necessary, but we are using the square two, or these are already existing, but it has a rounded corner. So you might be able to get away with some tacks or welds on the inside, but I would try not to do that just to keep that clear. So do like a no-fly zone for welds on the inside if you can get away with it. But the important thing is to make sure you weld top and bottom on this axis. That way it's not just this axis. But yeah, but keep your welds minimum just like this. And then you're going to go ahead and drill those holes as you can see, and they will match up with the punch if you follow the drill template guide here, the layouts. So you're just going to choose the center of one side. Make sure that you double check with install. I think maybe 1/2 inch diameter holes will help, but I don't know if they'll want to do 3/8, but it might be a little tight. Make sure you're on the center of the 2x2. If you do use the drill press, don't go off of the web. You know, you'll have the leg of one side, so make sure it's, you know, technically it'll be off center on the one side, but make sure you're 1 and 1 right down the middle. That way it lines up with that post properly. And you can kind of see where it's laid out there. All right, so for fab, that's it. Put your 2x all in there, tack them up. You'll have an 1/8 inch play on both, so it's 2 1/8, 2 1/8, should be good. The other one is you're going to shoot studs on each of these pucks. So each of these pucks will have 2 studs to shoot. So gather up all the pucks and shoot studs. That should be it for fab at that point. And then this goes over to first shot. Normally I don't really address first shot in the videos, but this is for you. I got you, fam. So because each of these will then be important which graphic goes on which panel because of the placement of these pucks, up and down. Just look inside between the angle pieces there, and it'll be scribed as to which sign type. So I suggest Fabrication, Install, Jonathan, Production Manager, First Shop, get this printout and make sure that you can then reference which one goes to which, and it's important. So you'll have your 8E, use this as your map. And then I went ahead and put on each puck, just to make it easy, because each puck either, they have a up, a down, a left, a right, and because they are semi-directional, because they have the studs on one side, I went ahead and I just labeled those as well. So you'll use this to, lay out which graphic goes which. Then I got this for First Shop. So check this out, vinyl department. So what you're going to do is make sure you find this Fabrication, get this to vinyl after you've bent it up. So this will be bent up like a little tray, and then you're going to get each of these pucks are going to have 2 studs shot on the back of it. So that would actually make it a little bit challenging for, squaring up the arrow there and making sure that it's properly aligned and making sure it's not kind of shooting off at a 10-degree angle or whatever. So put this tray on your table, and then you can just go ahead and insert the little plate there. And then I have a window on the back that will let you see which way the arrow actually faces. So all you got to do is put this on there, the studs will line up in the hole, and then you can just look underneath, and then you can use this guide. The template plate will be square, so you could use these edges to do 90, 180, 270, whatever, and you can make sure that the arrow faces the proper way. And then you can just slide in another one, and then just take a quick glance underneath, and you'll know that the arrow faces up. So you flip it over, and that'll help you lay out that arrow. And again, using the square as your guide, get you all lined up nice and even. So look for that. Hopefully that'll help, and that way you can get all these arrows laid out. And then it's just a matter of, once we're all done, putting these arrows, matching up which one goes to which using this. I ordered up some Acorn Nuts. That's kind of how they have it called out. So I ordered these up. Now, granted, the studs we're going to use, we shoot studs, those are 3/4 inch. So these will probably be a little long. So you can either choose to do a washer, or we might have to grind down the aluminum studs on the back of these, but watch the thread, make sure we can make it work. But I did order these up. Be on the lookout for some McMaster car. We've got some Acorn Nuts coming for that. So that's how we're going to mount those. Obviously, you can do that before they leave the shop. So anyway, so it's pretty straightforward as far as all that's concerned. I just want to make sure everyone kind of sees what's up. So just look for the sign types that'll be on the back in between, and then it'll be easier to just match everything up. So hope that helps. If you have any questions, get at me.